I want to start with something you've said or heard or thought at 2 in the morning at the end or at the end of a stretch of shifts. They have all the money in the world for the new patient tower, the rebrand, the consultants, and somehow every single contract cycle, there's nothing left for us. You've said it, I've said it, and I want to tell you tonight that we're not being cynical. You're not being dramatic. You are describing a documented economic mechanism, and it has a name. And economists have measured it, so let's talk about it. Because once you name the thing that's happening to you, you can stop wondering whether it's in your head and start figuring out what actually moves it. The word is monopsony. You know monopoly, the one seller, they set the price. You pay it because where else are you going to go? Comcast. Monopsony is the mirror image. One buyer in this case, and the thing being bought is us. Here's what makes it work. Two conditions have to be true. First, there have to be very few employers competing for your labor. And second, this is the part that stings, your skills have to be industry specific. Think about what you actually know how to do. You can titrate 4 drips, catch a rhythm change before the monitor alarms. You can tell from across the room that the patient in room 12 is about to go bad. You know the difference between a family that needs information and a family that just needs someone to talk to. That is decades of expertise. And there's exactly one type of business on earth that buys it. You cannot take it across the street to competing industry. You can only take it across the street to another hospital. And if your metro has 2 systems or one, then across the street isn't a real threat, and everybody at the bargaining table knows it. That's not a personality problem with your CNO. That's the structure of the market you sell your labor into. Now, here's where it stops being theory. 2 economists, Elena Prager and Matt Schmitt, published a study in the American Economic Review. That's the top journal in the field, not an op-ed. They looked at what happens to hospital workers after hospital mergers. And here's what they found. When a merger significantly increased how concentrated the local market was, wage growth for nurses and pharmacists ran 1.7% slower per year than markets that didn't have a merger. Not lower wages once, slower growth every year, compounding. Now run that over the length of a career and you're talking about a house. And here's the detail that should make the hair stand up on your arms. The effect did not show up for every worker in the building. It showed up specifically for workers whose skills were industry specific. The people who could walk out and get an equivalent job in another sector, their wages were fine. We get squeezed precisely because we're skilled. The training that makes you good at this is the same training that makes you capturable. Our expertise is our leash. That's why every bargaining cycle feels like pulling teeth. It's not that the money isn't there. It's that they don't have to compete for you, so they don't. Let's deal with the other thing that they tell us, the shortage. Every administrator, every trade publication, every press release, there is a nursing shortage. We're all doing our best. Be patient. Be a team player. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics data from May of this year states that roughly 1.15 million people in this country hold an active RN license and are not working as RNs. 1.15 million. That's not a shortage of nurses. That's a pile of nurses, trained, licensed, and standing outside the building. Nurse job satisfaction dropped to 47% this year. It was 55% last year. That's an 8-point fall in 12 months. And when researchers asked nurses what would most likely make them come back, the top answer wasn't money. 65% said adequate staffing. So let's be precise about the claim and precision, because precision is how you win an argument in a public meeting. There is no shortage of nurses. There's a shortage of nurses willing to work under these conditions. Those are different sentences with different solutions. And the reason they always say the first one is that the second one has their name on it. A shortage of people is nobody's fault. A workforce that walked out the door is a management decision. So they say shortage and we're supposed to nod. We need to stop nodding. I want to say something to the people listening who are tired, not annoyed, tired. The kind where you sit in the garage after your shift and you don't turn the key for a while. I know the feeling. I'm not going to tell you it's a character flaw. It's accumulated wear. It's the single most common reason experienced nurses leave the bedside. But here's what I need you to understand about the math. Individual exit is the thing that's a system already priced in. Every nurse who quietly burns out and goes to utilization review, everyone who drops to per diem, everyone who lets their license go, that's not a cost to them. That's the mechanism working as designed. You leave, they backfill with a new grad at the bottom of the pay scale, and the average wage in the building goes down. Your exhaustion is not a bug in their model, it's a line item. The only thing that has ever changed that equation is the thing that costs them when we act together. So I'm not going to end on despair, because the same study that documented the squeeze also documented what blunts it. Finding one, wage suppression is measurably weaker in markets with strong unions. The economists went looking for what interrupts employer wage setting power, and what they found was for every penny we fought for through the CBA, the cycles that felt like we were getting nowhere, the meetings, the informational pickets, the members who signed the card when they were scared to, that is the documented counterweight to the exact mechanism working against us. It didn't feel like winning. It was the only thing that works. Number two, the effect is local. When systems merged without changing concentration in the local market, wages didn't take a hit. The harm comes from local market power, which means the leverage is local too. This building, this metro, this bargaining unit. That's not small, that's a map. So here's what I want from you this week. Not a movement, just 4 things. Only 4 things. Learn who owns you. That's number 1. Actually find out how many systems operate in your metro and how many did there used to be. If your hospital was merged in the last 10 years, you now have a research-backed reason why your raises slowed down. Put a number on it and bring it to the table. Number 2, retire the word shortage from your vocabulary. When someone says it, say the accurate thing. 1.15 million nurses are not at the bedside, and 65% of them point to staffing as, that's why they would come back if, staffing was better. Number 3, I want you to talk to one person who isn't involved, not a speech, just a conversation on a break. The research says density is the variable. Density is built one person at a time by people who are already tired. That's the unglamorous truth of it. And number 4, if you're worn out, change the shift before you change the careers. Nights to days, unit to unit, drop to per diem. Do what you have to do to stay. Because the thing that has been suppressing our wages for 30 years is banking on your quiet exit, and staying organized on the roster in the unit is not passivity. It's the whole ball game. They have consolidation. They have the balance sheet. They have the consultants and the press releases about the shortage. We have only the thing they can't merge the way around, and that's whether we show up together. I'm Andy. This is Union Nurse Andy, and take care of each other. And thank you for watching.